What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down a very important analysis of both NIO and SPY and talk about why on earth it's very possible for NIO to come down a little bit more. But despite that, I still see NIO ripping in the next upcoming weeks. I'm going to show you exactly why and how this can actually happen. I'm also going to explain why the market is kind of like moving the way it is and how this may affect NIO for the next upcoming trading days too. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any details, I got to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, but benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and into the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, out of these 12 free stocks, one of them could be a free Tesla share or a free Apple share. It's a limited time offer. The offer runs in just 2 weeks, so please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at SPY, we're down 0.76% for the day, and NIO is down 6.32%. So I want to actually do a big analysis of what's going on right now by comparing them side by side and show you how this could really affect us over the next upcoming weeks, next upcoming days. So why is SPY dropping like this? And why did NIO actually start to drop since its big move to the upside? Because we did actually see NIO push up near the same time that the SPY started to push up. And then right here around August, we did see NIO start to push up. SPY was pushing up very similarly, but then they started to kind of diverge a bit. NIO did start to come down a little bit earlier, but then both of them kind of like ripped to the upside near the same time right here. And you'll notice that recently, SPY has been just dumping like crazy ever since that big CPI report came out. And NIO was holding up, showing lots of strength in the beginning. But like I mentioned, guys, I did see NIO coming down, and we have come down so far. And it does look like NIO is going to continue for a little bit of time. Now, before you guys like lose your minds when you hear this, please note that this is just temporary in my opinion. And I do see a big reversal coming, and I do think NIO is going to rip very soon. So why do I feel this way? Well, let's first talk about why the market's dropping. So CPI came out very high. This means that inflation is still roaring in the USA. It's still very, very high. And after the CPI report, right, 8.3% for the month of August overall. And besides energy, everything essentially went up in essence, from utilities to electricity to shelter, everything went up. That's not good. So the Fed was incentivized to be more hawkish. So the market fully priced in a 75 basis point rate hike. Remember, the Fed raises the federal funds rate to slow down demand in our economy. By slowing down demand, it will help decrease inflation over time. So far, it hasn't worked as well, but over time it should work. It's just a very slow process. So in the meantime, there was a risk that the Fed would be more hawkish and raise the rates at a more aggressive rate. Because the more aggressive they are, the worse it is for the market in a way, because it really hurts businesses, their profits. It also slows down demand. It makes housing more expensive. It really hurts those interest rates and makes the cost to borrow money very expensive. So the market starts pricing in and 100 basis point hike, and we are already fully priced in 75. So if this number starts to go up right here, say I was 18%, this means that this is like the probability of how high the rate would be, and we've only priced in 18% of what a 100 basis point rate hike would do. Now there's a lot of debate between what it's going to be. So if we do end up getting a 75 basis point hike, which I still feel like we most likely will, that in turn, will help the market actually rally, because we already priced that in. We're starting to price in the Fed being even more aggressive, which is why the market is dropping harder. But if they actually give us 100, the market's going to remain choppy, guys, for a little bit longer periods of time. Now, either way, even if we are choppy for another few weeks, if you look at historical data, when we have a midterm election, because remember, in the beginning of November, we have the entire US House of Representatives being reelected and also a third of the Senate. So this is the midterm election. It is the midterm time frame before the presidential elections. Obviously, we had the presidential election in 2020 and then 2024. In the middle comes 2022, which is the midterm election. So during these elections, the market tends to actually push up as we approach the big day. Now, can I promise you it's going to happen immediately? No. Can I promise you it even will happen? Not necessarily, but I do think based off historical data, it's very likely, right? It's very likely we do get a bit of a push after, as we approach the election. So what I'm seeing for SPY in the markets is, firstly, we have the FOMC meeting right here. As we approach the date, I expect lots of chop. I do think SPY could drop a little more, even if it fills this gap. It could push up a little bit, but I'm not seeing much better price action. I think the market is still going to be choppy. It's going to be kind of crazy. We may see some more downside. Like I said, guys, it's not going to be the best for the next couple of trading days as we approach the 21st of September. Now, after the 21st, we're either, in my opinion, we're not going to dump most likely unless we get 100 basis points. We are more likely to get 75. So the market could remain choppy for a couple of days, but as we approach the end of September, I do anticipate the market's going to relieve a little bit. And then going into October, I'm not sure about the first 2 weeks, but maybe the last 2 weeks are most likely going to be very bullish weeks because we don't have an FOMC meeting. We have the election coming up. It's not going to be good for the markets. It's not going to be good for the election if we start to see the markets crash as we approach them. So we're more likely to get another relief bounce. And during that time, I do think NIO is going to follow SPY and start to rally as well. Now, remember, there could be alternative factors out there involving China that could affect NIO, but as of right now, NIO has been kind of like tracking the SPY. So that's the reason why I do think this could still be a good sign for NIO, and we could see some good moves. Now, you must also note that NIO is very strong fundamentally, in my opinion. And when it comes to fundamentals, they're not driving the market right now. We're not moving based off fundamental moves. We're moving based off the whole market kind of moving in unison based off the Fed, the economy, CPI data, and things like that. So in the future, when fundamentals become bigger, NIO will, rally really hard for the next couple of weeks, couple of months. It's going to take a little bit of time before we get there. So with that said, NIO has this gap down here. It might actually slowly come down to fill this gap over the next couple of trading days, guys. So be prepared for some potential downside. But either after FOMC or maybe like a week or two after, I do anticipate a very nice bounce. And I do think NIO and SPY are going to rally again. I really think it's very likely we see that as we approach the election. And that's why NIO will explode most likely, in my opinion, relatively soon. So another thing that's very important is with FOMC coming in just a couple of trading days, NIO is still doing very, very well fundamentally. You can see right here, today the NIO Power Europe plant in Hungary delivered its first battery swap station to Germany. Absolutely incredible. We are excited to be part of the acceleration of the EVs in the European markets and more convenient power services for European users. So that's absolutely incredible. They're really growing in Europe. And I believe, all right, the market may be choppy right now, but for the future, for next year, the year after, the fundamentals are going to kick in again. And they're really going to start driving the markets. So NIO has strong fundamentals. They're ready for it. And when the time is right, NIO is going to rip to the upside. It's going to the moon for the long-term future. So anyways, thank you all for listening. I hope I provided some value for your guys' day. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.